But
I have a question. So this is about fidelity, right? Like the woman's fidelity to the man and her honoring and having and like honoring his boundary. So my question for you, Brian, is if a man is watching porn, is that the same? I mean, should a woman not expect that he is not watching that? A girlfriend, should she expect that he's not watching that? Because I think the spirit of infidelity is there.
I would argue it's pretty different, but if as a woman you want to date a guy that doesn't watch porn, that ought to be a conversation that you have with someone, hopefully early on in the relationship. If that's an expectation for a partner, I think that's totally okay. And I would encourage men, I would actually think it's probably better for the sake of your relationship to not be consuming porn. Now, I also think this sort of almost brings it back to a previous conversation we were having. If you don't want your partner watching porn, you should sexually fulfill your partner so they don't feel the need to watch porn.
Okay, but I think there's lots of guys...
Because men who are sexually fulfilled by their partners are not going to be as compelled to watch porn.
I disagree with that. I think that you can 100% fulfill your partner to the point that they don't, like,
some
you
men
are more
addictions.
Desirous
Yeah.
than they are, and they'll still want to watch porn every day or like every other, like, you know.
As a woman, I think it's 100% respectable if you have a preference for dating men who don't watch porn or rarely watch porn, whatever it may be. That's 100%.
Would you go so far as to say a self-respecting woman should expect that her boyfriend does not watch that?
I don't think you would be lacking as a woman if you as a woman didn't care about your boyfriend watching porn. I don't think there's anything wrong with you as a woman if you don't care if your boyfriend watches porn. But I don't object to a woman having a preference to date a man who doesn't watch porn.
Okay.
That's totally fine.
I just wondered.
It's probably better for your relationship to find a guy who doesn't watch porn.
I agree, because I think that, like, you're pretty, like, that's your boundary, but you also are promoting it to men that you think that they should be concerned if their girls are going out to bars and all that and, and having girls' nights.
I think that's way worse for the relationship than men watching porn.
How so?
Because the guy watching porn is not going to fuck any of those girls.
Sure.
So there's degrees to infidelity. If you consider watching porn cheating, then that's not as severe of cheating as going to bars, clubs, and parties, and potentially...
So if we did a risk analysis, right? Sure. Is there a greater risk that she could be taken and some guy talks to her and woos her, or the girl gets too drunk and she ends up going home and there's a big scandal? Yes. But I think that, like, if you look at the statistics and you look at all what behavioral scientists are saying and all of these experts about watching porn, there's much more evidence for that as being a detrimental behavior in the long run than going out and going to a bar. So is
literally looking at naked women versus you going and having a drink with your
so
friends.
It's lower risk, but it's much more, I think it's more easily justified. And so then it becomes and it grows and accumulates. And so I think that's actually more toxic than this maybe high risk, high reward.
You think it's more toxic for men to watch porn than women to regularly go out to bars and clubs and parties and drink?
At the very least, I think it is equal. I think it is equal.
How is it there? I'm not saying that. I've already not even conceded. I don't think it's good for men to be watching porn while in a relationship, for the sake of the woman and for the sake of themselves.
But
it's way fucking worse when it comes to the disrespect for a girl that you're in a relationship with to be going to the club multiple times a week.
Okay.
That's way more disrespectful to your partner in various ways, because men care a lot about respect, right? So while your boyfriend watching porn, that's something internal within your relationship, but you going out to nightclubs, that's also not only disrespectful internally in your relationship, that's something that other people, your social circle, will become aware of, and that can be disrespectful on top of it. If I'm dating a girl and my close male friend or some guy I'm trying to close a business deal with sees my girlfriend at the club acting like a fucking R-slur, yeah, then like that looks bad on me. So it's both internal and externally impacting the relationship.
Okay, but so let's deal with the internal first. So these women at the panel, they all just said, I can go out to a bar, and correct me if I'm wrong, I can go out to a bar and say no to guys and say, no, I have a boyfriend, and respect my boyfriend. Am I right? Okay. So they all say that, right? So we have to assume that their mentality is good, is positive. And then you're saying a man who's watching porn, it's harmless. So
I'm just failing, like...
He could say, I'm not cheating.
With you. I agree with you. Porn is bad, but you're just trying to... we can talk about all kinds of things, comparatively speaking. We can have a conversation about porn, but right now we're talking about going out to bars and clubs.
I know, but...
This is a separate conversation.
But here's my point.
What's your point?
So if you think that even though they say their intention is pure and is fine, but you're saying, well, I think that indicates maybe you're not ready to be in a legitimate, like, long-term relationship because it shows that you want something that is conflicting with your long-term goal. I think the same thing could be said about a man who's watching porn. In the long term, it conflicts with the long-term goal of being in a healthy, stable relationship.
Okay, so what is your point?
So I'm just saying that
porn is bad. I agree. What's your point?
No, my point is that if you're gonna be so harsh about the detriments of the single woman's behavior, the woman's behavior when she goes out and into a social setting, then I think the same expectations should be held. The men should be held.
Women
to
can
the
watch
same
porn too,
standard.
by the way.
And I would also so men or women, when it comes to watching
the difference
porn,
is when going to a nightclub and a bar, it would clearly be cheating if a guy approached a woman, right? But there's some debate over whether it's just cheating to put yourself as a woman in an environment where you know for fucking sure men are going to hit on you. You're going to get male attention. I think that's cheating. Off rip.
Okay. So if you like,
it's disrespectful to your partner.
But
don't you think it's disrespectful to your partner to watch porn?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
Because that more so just comes down to one, it's not gonna, okay, you can go to a nightclub and sure, you're 100% faithful to your boyfriend, you'll never cheat on him. Cool. However, the fact that you're going to that environment, people cheat in those environments. People get drunk. Even if it's not your intention, have you ever had a girlfriend or a guy say they made a mistake? Oops, it was a mistake. Fuck, I was really drunk. My bad. Have you heard of that? If you're watching porn, again, I'm not saying that porn is wonderful within and again, there's probably degrees to it. If they're porn addicted, that's really bad. If they watch porn occasionally when you're out of town, I don't think that's the fucking crime of the century, okay? But a man watching porn, even if he's porn addicted, is never gonna cheat on you because of that. He's never gonna go fuck another woman. He's never gonna go fuck a chick in a dingy fucking bathroom at a nightclub because he watches porn. If you put yourself in an environment like a nightclub or a bar, like actual physical infidelity can occur.
Isn't watching porn putting your mental state in an environment where it's okay to look at other naked women, therefore allowing yourself to maybe think it's okay to talk to other women,
absolutely.
flirt with
I
other
agree with
women, kind of getting into that?
So you're saying you think watching porn is as bad as your girlfriend fucking another dude?
That is not what I'm saying, and you're taking my words out of context. What I am saying is that if you're going to
make a comparison. No. You are trying to make a comparison between watching porn and a woman going to the nightclub or bar.
But the point here is that is in the mental state.
If you take each of them, you put each of them to their maximum negative outcome. The maximum negative outcome for a man watching porn is he's porn addicted.
Okay.
The maximum negative outcome of a woman going to a bar or a nightclub is infidelity in that environment.
I said high risk. I said it was higher risk for sure. Okay, but what I'm saying is,
I don't. You're just arguing to argue. I don't know what.
I'm not arguing to argue. So here's what I'm trying to say: that the whole purpose was about if we take the general mindset of the average girl, she's in a relationship, she goes out to a bar. We can assume. You're trying to assume that you're saying that it's worse than a guy who's looking up porn. It doesn't even matter if he's porn addicted.
It is worse, yes.
But that mentality. So why is? But if we're assuming that because going to a bar does not
worse
necessitate
than physical
an actual
assault. Murder is worse than slapping somebody.
But you
in the
can go
face.
to a bar, and just because it's a possibility that could happen, it doesn't mean that actually happens. So let's say they go to a bar, nothing.
If you were married, would you go? Like, let's say you were married, would you regularly go to bars and nightclubs?
No, but I
So
also
what are you
would
arguing
expect
for?
that my husband would not be watching porn.
That's fine. That should be something that is established early on in the
My
relationship.
Get dry.
$99. None of you are credible sources for dating advice, considering the fact none of your relationships have had a longer shelf life than a banana. None of you are ready for a relationship if you can't see going to single gatherings for the red flag it is.
I just think we should hold them to the same standard.
Just to respond to Mize, the purpose of a nightclub, bar, or party is to provide a venue, typically for single people, to meet each other. If women just wanted to hang out with their friends, drink cocktails, dance with each other, and avoid the exhausting approaches of single men, they'd stay in and you just stay in.
Or they go to a painting class or brunch or something where you're not indulging in a social environment to
Absolutely.
get drunk.
Girls' night in, I assume that'd be a much more enjoyable experience. You don't spend as much on drinks. You get to eat whatever snacks you want. You can dress however you like. The company is pleasant, and you can discuss all the things that you'd like to talk about with your friends without blaring music and drunk people and crazy flashing lights. If you go out to clubs and bars, like you're looking for attention from men.
I also
not
feel like
looking
it
for
can
attention.
affect a woman's mentality because when you're in this party environment, there's also things like alcohol involved. There's intoxication. Have you ever been approached by a guy and you've said no, right? You've probably been approached by a man and you've said no. Has he ever come back and tried talking to you again? No, don't go running home to your boyfriend saying, oh my God, this guy tried getting at me, because you're putting yourself in the position where that's able to happen to you. And then it fucks with your mindset too. You're like, oh, fuck men are gross, blah, blah, blah. But you're also putting yourself in the position to be approached by men to do that to you.
Look, I'll just say this. Gentlemen, don't be in a serious relationship with a woman who doesn't realize the importance of limiting their own behavior to protect the relationship. That's it. Do you have more?
No.
I would say, ladies, same thing. And if he's watching porn, look out.
This is just a whataboutism.
I think that puts the relationship in danger. You talked about behaviors that put the relationship in danger in the long
you're
term.
literally
I think
fucking
it does.
hijacking the conversation by trying to talk about porn. We can talk about porn, but you're trying to discredit my stance on the don't date people that regularly go out to bars and nightclubs by saying porn is bad. I don't disagree with you, but you're literally hijacking the conversation.
I'm not discrediting.
Madison, can you read that?
You conflict reality with fiction. That's B crap. Guys that blank porn stars make 0.5% of all men. There's a 99.99% chance that an average guy never fucks a porn star, but here's a 99.99% chance of his girlfriend flirting with a random dude while clubbing.
And Hector Rodriguez, no, I never was into clubs.
She's trying to say that the guy occasionally watching porn is as bad as a woman going out to nightclubs and bars and parties while in a long-term monogamous committed relationship and putting herself in an environment where she knows she's going to get approached by other men.
She doesn't know.
Yes,
It's
don't
not
be naive.
100%.
Don't be
I've
naive.
gone to a club and I've never gotten hit on.
Don't be naive.
It's
No,
not
it's not all
naive.
the
It's
time.
not every single girl gets hit on.
Yeah.
The fact that you're putting on all women that they get hit on when they go out to a club, it's not real.
It's pretty real.
So the guys that night didn't have the balls to go and talk to you, but they were looking and they were thinking, but they
Okay,
didn't have the courage to do
then why
it.
is that my issue if a guy looked at me and thought I was cute? I put myself in a
We're
position
not saying
where
it's
people
your
could
issue.
think I
It's
look
the
cute.
issue with the environment.
But it's an issue with the guy having his girlfriend go to a bar and somebody, even if they didn't talk to me, they're still going to be like, oh, well, someone looked at you and they thought you looked cute, so you shouldn't have gone out.
No, I'm saying
like-
that's a one-off. That for your situation, you went out and no one hit on you, that's a one-off.
Exactly.
Correct?
But that
Normally
happens.
they do hit on you,
Not normally. It doesn't happen every time.
but it does.
And for a lot of people, it doesn't happen at all.
That's kind of cap, but okay.
It's not a cap.
It's
No,
totally.
Do you
it's
know
not.
every woman? Do you know every girl
Is that
that has gotten hit on? No. There are many people that have not gotten hit on.
Yeah.
If you're out at a club and you hold up a sign that says, "I want to get laid," you're going to have a line of men walking up to each and every one of you. If I do the same thing and I hold up a sign that says, "I want to get laid," I'm also going to have a line, but full of men. No woman is going to come up to me and say, "Oh my God, me, me, me." Because who controls sex?
Women.
Correct?
Yeah.
I think look, I think the going to bar, like if you're in the mindset of wanting to be in a long-term healthy relationship, should you be going out to bars all the time and doing the things that you do when you're like a young single woman? No. So I completely agree with your argument, Brian. I just think that if we're talking about the mindset of fidelity, which I think at the core of your argument is that, because you talk about respecting your partner and that's the impetus for not doing that behavior, then I think that it's also important to like talk about a thing that can be more put men and women more equally, which I think in this case would be male porn use. Because you're right, a man going to a bar is not going to be treated the same way that a woman going to a bar would be. So it's just not fair.
right? But very, very simple. Just, I mean, don't date men that watch porn. The difference is, I don't think any man here is going to object to you having a preference or a standard for not wanting to date a man who watches porn.
Okay.
That's perfectly reasonable. No woman is going to push back on you on that. No man, I mean, I'm wondering if I've heard somebody say you're insecure as a woman if you have an issue with your partner watching porn. It's certainly, I've maybe heard that. However, you're certainly not going to get as much pushback for your standard or preference as men are for not wanting a partner who doesn't go to bars, clubs, and parties. Men get shamed for having their preferences. Whenever a man has a preference, standard, or boundary, it's you're insecure, you're a misogynist, you're controlling, you're insecure.
You think
Did I
you
already say
get that, especially if you like make it clear that you want a relationship? Like I can see that if you're
Yes,
like
women shame men's preferences, standards, and boundaries all the time. Men are not allowed to have preferences, standards, and boundaries. It's almost always met with some kind of shaming language. You're controlling, you're insecure, you're et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. And Hector Rodriguez, no, I never was into the club life, so.